Hello, my name is David Bryan, and this is Curiosity Invited, a podcast inspired by endless curiosity. Tune in for an open-minded conversation about interesting and important things. Well, hello, and welcome to Curiosity Invited. My name is David Bryan, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with someone I met relatively recently. Her name is Janet Anthony, and she is the executive director and co-founder, I don't know, actually. Co-founder of something called Blume Haiti, which super interesting thing that actually made me feel better when I found out that existed. So Janet is, well, I can let you do your bio, but Janet is a musician by training, and was a professor for, I don't know, for many years. So you taught at University of Kansas in Lawrence?
I taught it very close. A lot of people conflate the two. Lawrence University in Appleton, Wisconsin, and Lawrence, Kansas was founded by the same Mr. Lawrence a few years later in Appleton. Yeah.
Got it. And
related to Lawrence, as far as I know.
And where did you go? So you were a musician, right, for years?
Yeah, so I got my start in Tucson, Arizona, and from there went to Illinois to work with a fabulous Russian cellist, Raya Garbasova, and from there went to Vienna for almost 4 years and came back. I was on the 8-year plan for my undergrad, which I completed in Tucson, and then got my master's at SUNY Stony Brook in New York, and wound up in Appleton, Wisconsin at Lawrence University after that, and loved it there. Such great students and such great colleagues and such incredible opportunities. But I have to admit, as a desert rat, after my first winter in Appleton, I'm not going to stay here when I retire. It's a little too cold for me. But it was a fabulous career there. I spent 34 years at Lawrence in Appleton, and really loved it, and loved the way the institution grew and the opportunities that we had and that our students had.
And your primary instrument, or do you have many? But it was cello. You're a cellist, yeah?
Yeah, I'm a cellist. I was a cello professor there. In Haiti, I do lots of different things. I wear a ton of different. But
well, so now there's this thing you founded, Blume Haiti. So please talk about it. What is it, and why did you start it, and how did you come about starting a music program, music schools in, of all places, the island of Haiti, which, known for so many other things, but not that.
Right. Well, let me backtrack just a bit. So I was reading the back of a trade magazine, Strings magazine, one winter night. Couldn't sleep, and I was reading every single ad in the back, and there was this little one for. Yeah,
because you really
it was that kind of night. It was that kind of night. But I'm grateful for it, because there was a teeny ad, a 2-line ad saying a cello teacher needed for a music festival in Port-au-Prince. And I speak French, so let me look into this. And I did, and that led me ultimately to John Jost, who volunteered in Haiti when he was a college student in 1971, lived there for 4 years, and started helped to start a music program at Haiti's oldest music school, the Holy Trinity Music School. So he invited me to that summer camp, and I was totally hooked. And I've been going back, actually, except for the pandemic. My first trip there was in 1996, and I've gone back every year since then. And I realized that this was an incredible...
Gone back to teach.
To Haiti, to teach in Haiti every year since then, except for the pandemic years. Then I also was able to take about 70, slightly over 70 Lawrence students over the years to teach there. And for most of them, it was a life-changing experience. A number, keep going back. I've gone back for 20 odd years or so. So they got the bug the same way that I did. But that you are probably aware that in 2010, in fact, today is the 13th anniversary of the January 12th earthquake that struck Haiti in 2010 and killed, we'll never know how many, 350,000 people, and left millions and millions homeless. And after that horrific event, I was actually in Haiti with 2 students the December preceding. I left the country about 2 weeks before the earthquake, and then went back 2 months afterwards for a while. And it was clear a number of the music programs that I had taught at were completely devastated, lost staff and students and instruments and all of that kind of thing. So when I came back after that trip, a number of my former students who had gone to Haiti with me really pushed hard to start this nonprofit organization so that we could have a way to funnel instruments and supplies and funds to these music schools that were in such dire straits. And so we started, it's been a decade, and we've grown from, this small organization where we supported 2 or 3 schools to now we have partnerships with 50 programs located across the country, and are helping to create a networked ecosystem of teachers and administrators and students.
Now, just to be clear, so all these people work for Blume Haiti, or no? These Blume Haiti supports, or I'm asking you. I don't know, so I'm asking. So they do not.
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. We do not have any music schools, but we work in partnership with programs across the country, and these programs are highly varied. They can be religious, they can be secular, they're community music schools, they can be embedded within a school program, all kinds of models. They can be in some of the worst slums in the country, they can be in cities and urban areas and rural areas. There are really lots and lots of variety, but the unifying feature is that we, based on what their requests are, we try to fulfill that, and we're in the process of establishing a theory curriculum. We've been asked that by a lot of people, and also a performance curriculum, so that people in different schools can get from, if they are at a certain level as certified either by us, or I think perhaps we would prefer to create a national body of Haitians, so that it's not coming from the outside, but it's internal. If student X has this level of certification, he or she can go to any other school in the country, and people will know essentially what level they're at. It's sort of like the Association of British Royal Schools of Music that has an international program with different levels, and right. So I think that's probably the model that we'll wind up taking.
And so, for the most part, the support that Blume Haiti offers to these various programs is expertise, right? Curriculum expertise, program expertise, funding as well, definitely, and so support in all kinds of ways. With the pandemic, we, as organizations all over the world did, kicked into virtual learning. We did a lot of online virtual seminars, which in Haiti is a challenge. We also provided funds for people to get access to the internet because it's expensive, and it's mainly through the telephones that people can do things, can see things. So a lot of virtual programming. We have a partnership with musicians of the Utah Symphony to put on what we call the Haitian Orchestra Institute, that we're in high planning mode for right now. It's super exciting. There are 15 to 20 Utah Symphony players who go to Haiti for a week. And Blume Haiti selects the participants in that by audition as possible. This year it'll be a mix of people we know well and auditions and people recommended by their music school directors. They come for a week of intense from
work.
Haiti.
Yes. Well, in Haiti.
So yeah. They're not coming here. They're not coming to Utah. Utah's going.
No, the Utah people are going to Haiti. Yeah. And this year we're going to try and redo the program we had set for 2020, which was a banner year because it was the anniversary of Beethoven's birth, 250th, the 350th anniversary of the founding of Cap Haitian, a city in the north, and the 200th anniversary of the first king of Haiti. of his death. So there were a lot of things going on, which obviously didn't happen. But we'll do some of the same repertoire. And the Citadel is a World UNESCO Heritage Site, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, I should say. And we'll have Citadel at dawn with brass players, which will be super exciting, and a concert in front of the Sans Souci Palace, which is in ruins after an earthquake and fire in the mid-19th century, but still a gorgeous place. So that's where the concert will be. Probably about 3,000 people will come to hear that.
That's wonderful.
The participants will be prepared by their Utah Symphony mentors. So it's a very exciting thing.
So because I don't know anything, and maybe a lot of people don't, but is there a vibrant, would you say that there is a vibrant music scene in Haiti? I don't mean scene like, nightclubs. Like, are people sort of yearning for more music, more ability to learn music? Has Blume Haiti started, among others, given birth to that? And it's not something.
No, we haven't given birth to that at all. Not at all. Music is an integral part of the culture. In fact, given that today is the anniversary of the earthquake, I was thinking back. The manager, owner of the Olufsen Hotel, has a band called Ram, and he was a very active. He posted a lot in the aftermath of the earthquake. And one thing that he mentioned, and almost everyone mentions this when they talk about the initial impact of the earthquake, that evening, you heard singing everywhere. Mm-hmm. People were singing. People were singing to comfort themselves, to comfort others. And I mean, that's sort of an extraordinary example of that. But music is a deeply seated part of Haitian culture. And interestingly enough, classical music, we're very ecumenical. We support all.
Well, I was going to ask exactly that. Yes. So please, talk about that.
Yeah, so classical music goes back in Haiti to the colonial period. And in fact, there's something called les affiches américaines, which is online now. You can go to that site and type in the word violon in French, and you get, 40, 50, 60 mentions of enslaved people who played the violin in the theater and who had escaped, and their owners wanted them back. In a way, except for the fact that these people were totally enslaved, it's sort of like, and musicians were treated as servants in Haydn's Europe, for example. He was responsible for hiring musicians who could also bake pastries, who could also make wigs, who could also be soldiers, who had various skills, who were cooks, pastry chefs, whatever it might be. And what I found striking with these affiches américaines sightings was that, this is Joseph. He has a scar over his right eye. He escaped 2 weeks ago. He's a good violinist, and he also is a wig maker. If you see him, bring him back to wherever. So enslaved people were actively involved in making music. Cap Haitian at the time was known as Cap Français, and it really was a huge cultural center. Things that played in Paris at the Comédie Française, 4 months later, they were in Cap Haitian. And the people in the pit of the theater, it seems like at least some of them were enslaved people, and very, very fine musicians. This is noted in a lot of these little messages saying that so-and-so has escaped, an excellent horn player or trumpet player or whatever it might be. So music has been a part of the cultural life. It's also super interesting. In the 1750s, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who's important musicologically speaking, wrote a piece called Le Devin du Village, the Devil of the Village, and that went to Cap Haitian, or Cap Français, I should say. When it went back to Paris, there were two numbers in Creole embedded in that, which means that the plantation owners, the upper class, knew about the existence of Creole and allowed it to be put into this opera that went back to Paris and was known. That was the first instance of an operatic piece in Creole that we know of. And then the second was the Shukun that I'm forgetting his name. Yellowbird. Who did Yellowbird? Harry Belafonte actually stole from Haitians, as it's a Haitian tune, and Shukun was a beautiful mulatress marabout, which means dark skin and straight black hair. And the song talks about her and a young man who's in love with her, and whose her mother approves of him because she invited him over for peanuts and hot chocolate, but she, alas, fell in love with a white man on a horse who had a watch. So he was out of the running after that. It's a lovely, charming tune. Yeah, exactly. Well, the horse and the watch. I think it's both of them that were so attractive to her. But yeah, so there's a long, long history of classical music in Haiti that people aren't aware of. And there's also a long, long history of joining the traditional, either voodoo or folk music with the classical tradition. Just as in Europe with Bela Bartok and Zoltán Kodály, who did a lot of research out in the field and collected Hungarian folk songs and then used that as a base for some of their classical repertoire. That happened in Haiti as well. We're open to everything, and we try to offer support to anybody who's active in the artistic field of either creating music or performing music. My background is as a classically trained musician, so I've got a preponderance towards that, and a lot of people want that as well. One of the things that program leaders tell us over and over and over again, and it's especially important now because Port-au-Prince is overrun by gangs, is that they really want to see instruments in the hands of kids instead of weapons as a way to give them other options and other possibilities.
Do you have a story, a theory? Why is classical music such a draw for the people there? Do you have a hunch that it's the musical currency of the privileged, and so people are drawn to watch a horse and somebody who can play violin? so
yeah, I think there are a variety of things in there, but what we try to do is, I don't know if you've heard of the El Sistema program in Venezuela, which is using music as a tool for social change. It's extraordinary, just extraordinary. The current music director of the LA Phil, Gustavo Dudamel, is a product of that program, as are many incredible musicians. So what we also try to do, in addition to having youngsters play Beethoven, is have them play Wayo Wayo, which is a Haitian folk tune that came from the mountains in the north, or Shukun, as I was talking about. We encourage young composers. There are a number of terrific talents. And we encourage them both by giving them basic skills in terms of how to put things together musically, and by premiering their pieces, by commissioning them to write things, all of that. There's a really wonderful burgeoning repertoire of classically oriented pieces that often draw on Haitian elements that are being created right now. And we'll be playing a bunch of those this weekend, actually, which is sort of fun as well.
Well, there's two things flying through my mind at once, but let's just deal with the one that it's clear on the website. Yes, it's about music, but it's also about building. It's leadership. So
building leaders using music education. Yeah,
exactly. So that's not people don't necessarily put those things together when they, music. Oh yeah, that's where leaders come from. So what's the connection there, and how does Blume Haiti support or fan the flames of that aspect of what they're doing, what you're supporting down there?
So actually, music, I think the skills that music playing, music teaching, music learning teach are incredibly relevant to building leadership skills. They were in the summer camp last summer, one of the camps that I was at, there's a 12-year-old girl who got up with her clarinet and played before 300 people. That builds self-confidence. She got a riotous welcome and send off. They loved her playing, and you could tell how much that meant to her and how much that kind of support will continue to mean to her. Also, the fact that in Haiti, this is something that was mentioned to me by a fellow who became one of the ministers of energy for a while under one of the recent presidents, a bass trombone player who loves jazz. And one of the things he said was, in Haiti, so much is started and not finished. With music, you work on a piece, you work on a program, you present the program. You see what the process is to start and to finish something. That's incredibly valuable. But also learning how to work together, teamwork, learning how to communicate, learning how to respect other people. I think all of that contributes to building leadership skills. And we see that so often, a lot of the people who've been through either our pedagogical programs or our leadership specific programs, they've gone on to start their own music schools. They've gone on to start music programs within the context of what they call a classical school, so a traditional educational institution. And that's, awesome to see.
Learning music, learning how to create a piece, learn a piece, present a piece, that complete all those skills. Getting up in front of people, et cetera, collaboration, all those skills we know can be features of inspired, effective leaders. Are you being explicit about those things in program, or is it about the music? I guess I'm wanting to, yeah. No,
yeah, it's a little bit of both, in that in a lot of the program we do in country, we really encourage people to take on leadership roles, and we offer the support that we can when we're there. And when we're not there, there are plenty of incredible, extraordinary people who are also able to do that for their younger colleagues, to support them, to mentor them, to help them move ahead. And that's one of the things that we do pay attention to. I would say it's using the tool of music as a way to build a whole wide variety of skills, and leadership is certainly one of the more important ones in that.
Right. And yeah, I mean, one can imagine an eager and not necessarily talented young person drawn to music, but as a damn good leader, a much better leader than they are a violinist. and that would be wonderful. When I was in charge of a school, when I co-founded a school and ran it for years, we got students from a program that was created at elementary school to teach music, and it was classical music. It just so happened, and I'm sure, and the students, the now adults who talk about it, music was the thing that kept them coming to school when they might otherwise not have. But it gave them so much, and so much of what it gave them was an eye-opening view of possibility for them. And to this day, and I suspect that that's true there, right? Not everybody's going to make it onto the concert stage, but that's not the only point of playing music. Of that program.
In fact, I would say that's not our point at all. There are so many incredibly gifted people and extraordinary talents there, and we definitely want to support them. But it's more, as you say, music, and in Haiti in particular, gives people other options and other possibilities in their lives. I've been told by so many people that music has literally saved their lives. And I completely believe that, knowing from what kind of milieu they came and what the challenges are. I was talking with a friend of mine, I guess it was maybe a year ago. Almost everybody he grew up with is dead. And music got him out of that context, out of that situation, because he can play, he can perform, he can teach, he can do other things. He's not stuck in that particular line. And the fellow, excuse me, who brought me to Haiti has a wonderful way with words. And one of the things he says is that music through music, it's possible to unleash hope, and hope can provide the impetus for all kinds of change. And you're in a country that's highly dysfunctional, the capital at any rate. Life is incredibly difficult, and still the sun rises every day, and you have to get up and you have to fend for yourself and your family. And I think music is one of the ways that helps people get through these really challenging times right now. And it offers all kinds of skill building possibilities and potentials as well.
Have you bumped into people who didn't want you there? Not necessarily you personally, but the program there, and or as you said, it's difficult. Gangs are rampant in the capital.
So we're not bringing music to Haiti. Haiti has plenty of music, right? And we're very, very clear about that. 5 of our board members are Haitian born. We've got a Haitian programmer manager and a Haitian instrument tech. And it's something, sort of the white savior complex is something I'm aware of, and not at all interested in replicating in the work that we do. So we definitely center Haitian voices in everything that we do. And I haven't ever been told that I'm not welcome there, or that the work that we are doing is not welcome. I think some people would like for us to act faster, if they've made a request for 20 instruments and we don't have them, and we don't have the resources to go out and buy them, and there are 50 other programs that want instruments. Yeah. It's a slow process and it's frustrating, and I get that. And it's hard to that's the reality. We function based on the funds that we have.
We can do
as any organization. Yeah. We can do what we can do. So we try and make that clear to people that we have limited resources, and we've got a lot of programs that need help, and people tend to understand that. But in terms of bringing culture to Haiti, that's not at all what we're about.
Yeah. I was wondering about that. We're living in that. Well, everybody's always living in a wacky time, and this one is wacky as well. But
yes,
but the high sensitivity, and perhaps sometimes too high, from my point of view, sensitivity to being on guard to protect people from appropriation that that they welcome. I want to learn classical music. I happen to be in Haiti. What do you mean? What do you mean? It's a wacky. One could easily imagine in these times somebody standing with a clipboard and counting the number of classical pieces that were played. Aha! See, I told you were. And so it's good to know that it's that's not the spirit you're met with in any way. So that's great.
Well, and we also try to foreground classical pieces by Haitian composers.
Yeah.
And in fact, we had a board retreat last year and invited a couple Haitian leaders to that who happened to be in Miami. And the things that the most important: salary support and professional development for teachers, instrument, and what they call instrument doctors, which we also do. We provide a lot of training in instrument repair. And then the last thing was so interesting to me was the archives, to bring more awareness to young Haitian musicians about their history, and both current and now deceased performers and composers. And so we do that also. And I was so interested that was foregrounded by the music director who was speaking, whose own father was one of the luminaries, giants in the applied field, a violinist. So yeah, and I feel like we meet those desires actually pretty well, and can always do more. If we had more resources, we could do that much more course,
Yeah,
but
and we'll make
those
sure.
are our foci as well.
Yeah, we'll make sure them folks should know it's a nonprofit and that you can one can donate. One can donate on the web. One
There
can,
you go. I mean, that's not the purpose of this
no,
conversation,
not
but
at
yeah.
all. But but it's but it's something that's doing a good thing, and nonprofits.
Well, the other thing that I find so interesting, I mean, as instruments are donated to us, we send them along to Haiti, and sometimes they're not in great condition. But we've had this long partnership with a group called Luthiers Without Borders, Luthiers Sans Frontières. A luthier is a person who builds and repairs string instruments.
Yeah.
And the UK branch in particular has come to Haiti 9 times for between 3 and 6 weeks to teach the art of string instrument repair. And as a result, there are 4 highly professional luthiers in the country. And you think of Haiti, you don't think of that as a possibility, but it's there. And then we've also partnered with ABRSM, this UK group, and Music Fund, which is a Belgium-based group, and Rotary Club in this country to do the same thing with band instrument repair. So we had 120 people participate in sort of the first module of repair with a Haitian teacher who was trained in France and Belgium himself. The second module is dealing with brass instruments. A little bit hard to get it off the ground just because nobody can travel safely at the moment. So we've moved that to online, and it's sort of working, not entirely, but a little bit. At least people are getting access to the information. And that's a way to keep programs sustainable, so that when they have a broken clarinet, they don't have to throw it away. They can themselves fix it. And so we hope to have main centers of instrument repair, band and string, and then for most programs to have somebody in-house who can deal with minor stuff. So
what has been the effect down there of the pandemic? We are so focused here. So has the pandemic swept the country in terrible ways in Haiti?
That, it's so interesting. There was an article published by a Haitian epidemiologist, I think in 2021, I'd have to go back and check, about sort of posing the question, why has the pandemic not affected Haiti so much? And when it has affected Haiti, the people who have mainly been impacted are those of the elite. So presidents of banks, the head of the Supreme Court died of COVID, university rectors have died of COVID, but the vast majority of people have gotten some fevers and then been fine. The death rates there, statistics are hard to keep in a country like Haiti, but you can tell that coffins are not, being built left and right. People are not dying left and right. His opinion was that because most of the Haitian population, those who are not in the elite, live very close to all kinds of things, and their immune systems are superb, and they've been able to fight off things like COVID. Even now with the resurgence, you don't hear about it. When I was in Haiti in March and needed to get a test before coming back to the U.S., March of 2022, I guess it was. Yeah. I asked the fellow at the hospital in Jacmel where I was what the COVID situation had been like for them. And he essentially corroborated that. It was, it's come and gone in waves, and but mainly the people most impacted are those who are members of the elite.
Was there a widespread vaccination program or no? Who could afford it, right? Yeah.
In fact, vaccines have been donated, but people are very suspicious of that kind of thing, and given the history, with reason. So I totally understand why people are very non-committal about getting a vaccination. Yeah. What actually is happening that's much more concerning at the moment, based on what I've been able to ascertain, is cholera. Cholera was brought by the UN in 2011, the UN troops that came after the earthquake from Nepal, inadvertently, of course. They didn't come with cholera on purpose, but they didn't test the soldiers that Nepal sent, and they contaminated Haiti's biggest river because there wasn't a good sewage containment system, and the whole country was impacted by cholera. And that, as it it died down for a number of years, but as the political situation has become more precarious, it's now back again, and
Wow.
resurgent, I should. And that's really cause for concern because it's very hard for doctors to get from one place to another, for patients to cross the gang territory in the capital. So that's what a lot of people are very concerned about at the moment, is cholera.
Well,
more so than COVID.
Oh, you just vanished for a moment and now you're back. So good.
Okay. I saw the change in light.
It's the age we're in.
Right.
So what else should I and we all know about Blume Haiti, or about anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, as you mentioned earlier in the conversation, when people think about Haiti, they don't think about music. They don't think about beauty. They don't think about art.
No, you just think about people struggling for years in mass poverty and, et cetera, and violence and gangs, the way as you described.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think is so powerful about some of our some of our programming, particularly the Haitian Orchestra Institute, because it makes a splash. It's a big deal, and I think it's a big deal for the people within the country who see, who look at this with incredible pride, incredible hope, also as a way of showing both their compatriots and people outside of the country that really wonderful things are possible, very positive things are possible, that it's not all doom and gloom. There is that, certainly, but that's not the only thing that's important about Haiti. The cultural life is incredibly active, even in this awful, very difficult time, and that's something that I would bring to the foreground. That there's so much going on, which is interesting and stimulating and challenging in ways that people aren't really aware of. Go ahead.
Is it much like? Is the schooling system much like the United States? This one particular aspect of it that when money is short, the extracurricular programs are the first thing to be cut, and music, the arts, physical education, et cetera, are high on the chopping block list. And is it that way there, or is there a strong urge to keep those programs alive?
The educational system is based on the French system of education, and it's not like in the U.S. where a number of elementary schools have their own bands. Some programs have that luxury; it is a luxury there. But I would say that the majority do not. And community music schools are probably the most impactful way for people to have access to music education. There are some programs that have music embedded. There are some schools that have music embedded in the part of their academic program. But they're pretty rare. It's pretty rare and few and far between. And so the community music schools, I mean, as is the case in this country, they're all struggling to survive, right?
Sure.
And looking for grants and looking for support. In particular, right now, most of the programs that we partner with, they can't really charge parents any money. The inflation there is running at about 30%, and there hasn't been gas for months, and until finally that bottleneck broke a little bit because gangs were controlling the big port for gas in Port-au-Prince. Which made everything go way up in price. Music, it's not really embedded in a traditional educational curriculum the way it is in this country. And so in that case, it's also not on the chopping block when funds are
right.
In large part, it's
chopped.
There you go. It's not there to begin with.
Yeah.
And so there are some initiatives by the Minister of Education to insist that kids have access to some element of music and other arts. And Some programs are meeting that very well, and other programs just don't have the capacity or the resources to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing that's so interesting, though, with the French system, there's a big movement led by Michel Degraff from MIT to have, especially primary education, be in Creole. That meets with some resistance because, as you alluded to earlier, the language of the elite is French. It's not Creole. Everybody speaks Creole. And so there are a number of programs that have switched their primary school education into Creole, and there are materials that have been created for that. There are also music materials that we have created in Creole for schools to be able to use. And that, interestingly enough, we do meet some resistance. Not the fact that music is taught verbally in Creole, but anything written down. Some of the programs still want it to be in French, not in Creole, which I find interesting, and I try, to find ways to move around that. Because it's a class thing. It's it's mainly a class thing and sort of historic cultural thing. Where for so many years, Creole was accepted as a national language only in the Constitution of 1987. And even then, people, especially from the countryside, who didn't have access to, they didn't know how to speak French. They really were shut out of their self-governance. They didn't have any access to that. And it's still the case that a lot of people are not able to speak French. The vast majority, I guess 85% of the population does not speak French.
Does not speak French. No kidding.
Does not speak French. And that's also so interesting when I go there, people, if we haven't met, about 50% of the people I meet for the first time will speak to me in French. And mainly it's because they want me to know that they've been to school and can speak French. And I respect that, of course. It's hard enough to get to school in Haiti, and if they want to show that, that's fine. I respond in Creole 2 or 3, 4 times, and then sometimes
you speak Creole.
Yeah. We'll move to French if necessary, but usually they're put at ease and we'll go back into Creole. Right. It took me a while to understand that I needed to learn Creole. I'm a slow learner sometimes. After 5 years of going to Haiti, I had a conversation with a woman who was cooking for us, a marvelous cook. And she answered me for the first time in Creole, and it was like, bing, a light bulb went off. If I want to talk to people, and want to understand people who are not necessarily in an institute of higher education, I have to Creole. So I did, and get around in it pretty well, unless people are super, super excited, in which case I'm lost.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But that happens in English too.
Exactly. Exactly. I remember being in Chile years ago, and it was a simple question, ¿Dónde está el baño? But
yes.
But when they gave me the answer really quickly, I was like, all right, I'll find it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's something with the Lawrence students, the university students I brought to Haiti. After a year or two, I had them take a tutorial, an independent study with me, I guess it was, on Haitian language and culture. So everybody who was down there had at least a smattering, and they read a couple books, and we talked a lot about what our role is there and how to respect what people bring to us as well as what we bring to them.
So you were able to incorporate this work that you have been doing for quite a while into the university setting or into the college setting, right? I mean, you would, yeah. So that's another. That's another reason to praise Lawrence, because
there you go,
right? Because what Creole, Haiti, what?
Well, and after the earthquake, the president at that time, Jill Beck, was amazing. She asked, what the institution could do to support the work that I do. And we wound up with a tuition remission program, and we're able to bring some key leaders in music education, either advanced students or people who were already teaching, to spend. Lawrence was on a trimester system, so either 10 weeks or 20 weeks or 30 weeks
That's cool.
on campus, developing their own capacity, and then going back to Haiti and spreading that out. The ripple effect is extraordinary and goes way beyond what I'm even aware of, you know. But that had a pretty big impact on music education there. It was great.
I always love when people sort of, you know, at first it's a thread that they follow, and at some point it, you know, they grab on tight, and it takes on a life that, you know, one could not have known when it started. So kudos to you, and to them, but kudos to you. So, right?
Yeah, it's been a huge part of my life ever since my first trip there, and seeing the growth of Blume Haiti has been also really rewarding, and just the impact that we're able to have on the lives of so many people and so many communities and so many families and all of that.
And it's turned you into a person who's just as busy, if not more, now that you've retired.
Of course. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. Yeah. Well, it's good that you're just as busy doing these great things. So
it's satisfying. It's very rewarding. Couldn't have it any other way.
Well, and speaking of, I want to be sensitive to your time, but whoops, there goes, you're vanishing again. Yep, everything vanished. We're back. Is there anything else to say?
Yes, what we're doing both in Haiti and outside of Haiti to help change the perception of the country, I think, is incredibly important, and within Haiti to help give people other options, other opportunities in their lives, centering Haitian voices as we do to work to improve you know, what's happening socially, civically, economically, all of that stuff. So I really appreciate it.
Isn't it always the case, though, that the you know, no matter what maybe in all cases, it's the little pockets of, it's like the plants, the flowers, the trees coming up out of the cracked sidewalk, right? That's where the life remains and the life blossoms, even in a place, maybe all places, but certainly even in places where you know the quick glance is like, oh my God, what a disaster, but in fact, if you look closer, like a desert, right? I mean, it's like a desert. It's a barren desert, and well, you just have to look for what is actually growing there, which is rich and amazing, and so thank you. So thank you, Janet Anthony, for what you do and for speaking on Curiosity Invited. And well, thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
And good luck with all the festivities that are just around the corner that you're
coming right up. Yeah, it's exciting.
Cool.
It's exciting. Yes.
Cool. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care.